By order of the Emperor, my fellow Romans.
There's a certain timeless pull to the Roman Empire. The discipline, the decadence, the sheer scale of it all. But what happens when a game tries to capture that, in the form of a strategy sim? Anno 117 Pax Romana is Ubisoft's next entry in the long-running city building series, but this time it trades Enlightenment era trade routes for the might and order of Imperial Rome, and that shift is going to change everything. Welcome to LT Gaming, my name is Tom. If you're new here, we are into strategy games, deep systems, and the kind of immersive world building that rewards slow, thoughtful play. Today we're previewing Anno 117 Pax Romana, a game that asks you to govern not just a city, but a province, to balance Roman law, regional security, economy and expansion. It looks like classic Anno under the toga, but can it keep the series' strategic soul while doing justice to such an iconic setting? At its heart, Anno 117 Pax Romana will retain the series' signature blend of city building, economic management and strategic planning. However, this installment introduces several notable innovations that are going to set it apart from its predecessors. For the first time, players can choose between two distinct starting provinces: Latium, the heartland of the Roman Empire, and Albion, a more remote, challenging frontier. Each province will offer unique resources, cultural dynamics, and strategic considerations, with the idea to encourage varied playstyles and replayability. Now, the game is going to place a strong emphasis on cultural integration. As a governor, you're going to navigate the complexities of Romanisation, balancing the imposition of Roman culture with the preservation of local traditions. This is a dynamic that will affect city development, citizen satisfaction, and diplomatic relations. Economic systems have also been expanded with things like modular shipbuilding, allowing for customized trade and military vessels. This will hopefully add depth to naval logistics and combat, enabling players to tailor their fleets to specific needs. Diplomacy and narrative choice will play a much more significant role than ever before. Decisions made as a governor can lead to divergent storylines, alliances and conflicts, so adding a layer of narrative depth to the strategic gameplay. Overall, Anno 117 aims to provide a rich, immersive experience that will challenge players to think critically about governance, culture, and strategy within the context of the Roman Empire. What always made the Anno series compelling isn't just the building, it was the feeling that your cities are alive, that people walking down the streets have wants, roles, and a momentum of their own. In Anno 117, the world building is going to get even more layered. Citizens aren't just tiered workers. They will represent distinct cultural identities, so as you expand you're going to be managing the integration of Roman and local populations, each with their own expectation and values. The further you stretch the empire, especially in provinces like Albion, the more tension you're going to encounter. Locals might resist Romanisation, or develop hybrid customs based upon how you manage the balance of power, economy and faith. And it's not just going to focus on cultural drift. The game will promise a more reactive AI across multiple systems. Cities will evolve based upon how you're governing, your military presence, taxation, trade decisions and building choices, so they'll all shape how the population responds. There's a hint here of emergent narrative. Ubisoft mains have suggested that governors might face dilemmas, riots, political challenges, and even decisions around loyalty and assimilation that unfold based upon your playstyle. If it all works, this could turn Anno 117 from a beautiful builder into something closer to a living strategy sim, where your empire isn't just a layout of buildings, but a reflection of political and cultural choices across time. If there's one thing Ubisoft mains has consistently got right with the Anno series, it is the presentation, and Anno 117 looks to be no exception. The visual fidelity here looks genuinely impressive so far. From the fine detail of Roman architecture to the way the sunlight glints off tiled roofs or dances across the aqueducts, each scene feels carefully constructed to evoke the grandeur of the empire. But what's most striking though isn't just the scale, it is the variety on show. Latium with its marble forums and imperial precision has a very different feel to Albion's misty forests and rural frontier settlements. The environmental contrast isn't just visual dressing, it will subtly reinforce the cultural dynamics at play in the game. Zoom in far enough and you're going to catch your citizens going about their lives, loading cargo, gathering in forums, tending villas, this kind of background detail that makes your cities feel alive. What I've seen from the soundtrack so far shows it's going to blend regional instruments with orchestral swells, subtle, confident and atmospheric, a perfect complement to a game like this. There hasn't really been much shown off of the voice work yet. Based upon Anno 1800's precedent, we can likely expect a range of period flavoured character barks and advisor dialogue that add that extra texture. It will hopefully all contribute to the crucial Anno feeling, the sense the city is more than just efficient, it's beautiful, it's lived in, and you want to linger there just a little bit longer. Quick breather before we press on. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, feel free to drop a like or subscribe if you feel I've earned it. I cover games like this just because they're doing something a bit different, slow burn strategy, deep systems, rich settings, no fuss, no hype, just a closer look at the games that could be special this year. Now with a game like Anno 117, it's hard not to get drawn in by all the settings and systems, but let's be honest, there's also an elephant in the room, and that's Ubisoft. The broader sentiment around the publisher hasn't exactly been glowing in recent years. Between live service bloat, studio restructuring and a string of titles that felt more designed by committee than craft, there's been a real drop in trust from the community. And you'll see that under nearly every Anno 117 post. Excitement for the concept, but hesitation about how Ubisoft might monetize or support it post-launch. That being said, there is a bit of a distinction worth making here. The Anno series, particularly Anno 1800, has been one of Ubisoft's most consistently respected PC titles in the last decade. And that's largely thanks to Ubisoft mains, who've built up goodwill by focusing on strong post-launch support, deep mechanics and genuine historical flavour without turning everything into a storefront. The dev team is already very active on the Anno Union blog, sharing early peeks at the setting, features like modular shipbuilding and their goals for cultural integration as a mechanic. And while we don't have hands-on impressions yet, the design direction sounds carefully considered and not bloated, not rushed. So yes, the Ubisoft name comes with some baggage and the hesitation around it is completely valid. But Anno has quietly carved out its own lane, and if Ubisoft mains is given the space to do what they've done before and players aren't saddled with excessive online DRM or shop integration, this could be one of the best projects this year. As always though, it's one to watch and maybe not pre-order. So Anno 117 Pax Romana. It's looking bold, beautiful, and on paper it's one of the most promising city builders we've seen in some time. A setting with enormous historical weight and systems that are looking nuanced and reactive, and a studio that's earned a bit of trust in a company that frankly hasn't. If Ubisoft gives mains the room to focus on mechanics over monetization and atmosphere over algorithms, this could very well be the next great entry in a series that's always rewarded thoughtful play. But I want to hear from you. Does Anno 117 look like something fresh for the genre? Or is there still too much Ubisoft flavoured baggage for you to be excited just yet? Are you drawn to the Roman setting, the cultural systems, or are you just hoping for a polished offline mode with no gotchas? Let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading your takes, especially on games that sit right on the edge of potential and uncertainty. If you found this preview useful, thoughtful and a nice break from the hype cycle, feel free to give it a like or a sub if you feel I've earned it, and stay tuned for more strategy deep dives and indie previews coming soon.